I've never really liked feeling scared or feeling trapped by fear, but I have been, just because the fear and the underlying pain has been rather uh, intense as a kind of chronic background noise in life. And counterphobia is one of the expressions of kind of getting out of that, which is to do the things that make me nervous or scared. And in our culture, we have taboos around talking around sex, talking about money, being direct, sharing vulnerable feelings, and expressing needs. And we also have taboos around men and tenderness and affection, art, and in general, being authentic is rather taboo, particularly when that authenticity diverges with the culture. Um, kind of mustering up a certain amount of courage to dive into and get comfortable with taboos. I've grown from kind of participating to a certain extent in avoiding them to examining the taboos in our culture and understanding that whatever is taboo is more likely to be the most valuable arena that a culture can explore. In other words, the very act of a cult suppressing certain areas of intelligent awareness and conversation, as well as behavior, means that those arenas of conversation, awareness, and behavior are likely to bring the biggest dividends. It's kind of a little bit, if you use a maintenance analogy in a garden or a home. If, for whatever reason, the home is perfectly maintained, but windows are off limits, which means the windows never get clean, then if you want to make a big difference in improving that house, cleaning the windows, doing the one taboo thing, is most likely to bring the biggest dividend because nobody's doing it. And it's not even allowed to be talked about. And so, for example, direct communication around sexuality has brought in, a good sense of dividends. With money, in romantic relationship, there's a taboo around talking directly about money, and that has also been, a good dividend yielder to directly talk about the culture that we want the relationship to have and how money will play a part in that and who will do and pay for what. Spelling that out is a really healthy beginning to a relationship. Being direct and negotiating, there's a little bit of a stereotype that says that business is unromantic. And I believe it's the exact opposite. 95% of all of my business contracts exceed expectations, are mutually rewarding, end as agreed, and there's no traumatic surprises. And you contrast that with our culture's statistical record on romantic relationships, and 99% of all romantic relationships end for reasons other than death, and most of those end with one or both people considering it a disaster. And so to import business into romance simply means to show a similar amount of ethics, a similar amount of awareness and care, to negotiate each point that's valuable to both people prior to getting very attached. You don't negotiate a business contract after being partners. You don't negotiate a landscape contract halfway after building half the landscape. You need to do all of the negotiating around important points prior to attachment to make sure that both people feel the freedom to walk away, if it's not a good fit, and that if you are connecting, it's on mutually agreeable terms that you're likely to feel good about in the beginning, middle, and end of the relationship. Deep feelings. Break that taboo all the time, and just notice the 2% of people that respond in kind. And one of the things that I've differentiated early on in our culture is that there is a clear divergence between the path of normalcy and cultural dogma and happiness. And so when I diverge from cultural dogma and break cultural taboos in intelligent ways, I look for the 2%, sometimes it's only 1% of people that respond to that in an intelligent and healthy way. And then I know who my people are. It's that 1% that when I choose happiness over normalcy, they light up around that. And anyone that chooses normalcy over happiness is not in a state of independent integrity with themselves. It's coming more from fear and the need to fit in. So it's just not going to be as rich a person or as rich a relationship. And then needs in a cult that that deifies individuality, that deifies independence. I think needs are absolutely wonderful. And the real thing is to focus on people who are vulnerably needing stuff worth needing. Love, validation, loyalty, honesty. People that really need that. And it really makes their day and makes their life, when they receive that, and, they feel somewhat meaningless or empty without that. I love it when people are incredibly needy about intelligent things. And I love the need that I feel myself, very strong needs in a whole variety of arenas that, money is the least of them. And what I like is finding people that when I say I really need this, that they say I'd love to meet that need. That would be an honor. That would be a delight. I need that too. Because what you've got behind need is very strong motivation. So I've never steered away from people who are needy or who have strong needs, but I do pay attention to what the needs are. If someone is very needy to look good and put on a show, that's not a very intelligent expression of need. If someone is desperate for a really meaningful conversation and to be open and transparent, that's a magnificent need, and it's a pleasure to meet it.